YouTube, Shuriken Sentai here with a review of the Super Sentai Artisan Chogokin Otomonin Rodeomaru. And this also includes Aka Ninger Chouzetsu, because, yeah, they needed to throw him in somewhere. So this was released in December 2015, so it is fairly recent, fairly new still, for about 6,000 yen or so before middleman fees and shipping and such via Premium Bandai. So a little bit more than Shinobimaru, and that is mostly because of that little guy, but we'll get to him shortly. Pretty much the same style of box, but a little bit longer because he has quite a bit more accessories than Shinobimaru did, if you want to call them accessories. Super Sentai Artisan logo up there on the top, crap on the bottom, crap on the side, but a really awesome picture of Aka Ninger Chouzetsu right here. Or Chouzetsu, I'm just dropping the U because speech, but really cool. So yeah, there is that. That is about it for the box. So let's go ahead, get that out of the way completely, and take a look at the toy. Alright, here we go. And right off the bat, I do want to apologize if there's any background noise going on in this video. It is pouring down rain outside, and it's tinging against the roof and everything. I'm not sure if you guys can hear it or not, but if you can, I am sorry. I promised to get this video out today. So I am recording it anyway, and there's hair on my review station. How dare you? How dare you, kitties? How dare you anyway? So let's go ahead and get all this junk out of the way and take a look at Rodeomaru first and foremost. For those of you that watched the Shinobimaru video, you're pretty much guaranteed to know what to expect from this guy. It is basically the same body structure, give or take. Here is Shinobimaru, and as you can see, it's roughly the same sort of build. The legs are a little bit different just because of how Rodeomaru is designed. He's got a little bit different of a leg mechanism. And so instead of the thigh swivel being right there, the thigh swivel is now all the way up here, which isn't a big deal, but it just works better for the way that Rodeomaru is designed. And as you can see, they're both roughly the same height. So there we go. There's our two buddies. We'll get some pictures of them together. But yeah, so articulation-wise, you have full rotation over here on the head. Full rotation right there. Just a simple swivel system going on up there. And these are, I think they might actually be able to come off. Yeah, it looks like they can come off. Maybe. Those shoulder pads right there, but they are fully maneuverable and out of the way. You can get almost a complete bend right there. So there really isn't anything that can hinder this guy in terms of actual posability. There is an ab crunch with this guy as well. It's not as good as Shinobimaru's because, again, the way he's designed, but it is there. Like I said, the hips are designed a little bit different, but you have a thigh swivel right there, single bend in the knee, and ball and socket joint at the ankle. And again, he actually has a... Nope, that's still a single joint. I'm still dumb. Right there at the elbow and a swivel at the hands. He does... Yeah, he does. It's just kind of stuck together. He uses the same sort of style of hand as Shinobimaru does. Except his hands are a little bit open right there. Just because that is how he rolls. Because it kind of looks like he's playing guitar that way. And these can peg inward if you want to get more of a solid look to your Rodeomaru display. You got that going on, or if you want some more posability, you can pop them out to get a little bit more maneuverability. I can't talk. But anyway, so there is the figure. In terms of the Chogokin aspect of the toy, you have die-cast in the thigh, foot. That's not a thigh. I don't know why I keep calling it a thigh. Calf region? Calf, I think, somewhere around there. I don't know. Anatomy. But in the leg down here, as well as the chest up here, I believe is die-cast. I believe there's some die-cast right there in the chest. So there you have it. Again, great figure. You can get all sorts of poses off of this guy. Give him a sword or something, and you got a really neat looking action figure to have on display. So, again, even if you don't have any of the other mecha or anything for him to go into, and of course this one is compatible with Shurikenjin, Bison King, etc., etc., you got a great figure that's super posable and super fun to play with. I love these guys a lot, and I really wish they would have made Pound Maru and company, because I think having some posable figures of them would actually have been really cool. So over here, you can flip these out for function with Shurikenjin, so he can sit in there. I will show that off. And then we have all these little accessories, and these ones belong to Aka Ninger. So you have all these little accessories, and they all kind of help transform him a bit. So just like Aka Ninja and Shinobimaru, if we take off this little piece right here in the corner, we got this little piece right here that can slide in its place. It's a little bit harder to do just because of that shoulder pad, but now you have Star Ninja hanging out on the side of Rodeomaru, just like he does in the show with his little guitar hanging out. So that's kind of cool. It's a little bit more quote-unquote in the way than Aka Ninja is, but that's where he sits in the show, so what do you gotta do? So I dig that quite a bit. Honestly, I really like that aspect of having the little tiny ranger that can sit on there. I think that's really cool. Obviously, when you stand these two next to each other, there's some definite scaling issues at hand. But the whole Aka Ninja piloting Lion Haoh and Haoh Shurikenjin and stuff is just really messy when it comes to scaling anyway. So anyway, as not to break him or lose him or anything of the like, I'm going to take him off. And since we're going to move into the combination aspect, he doesn't really need to be there anyway. So let's go ahead and get him out of the way. I can't seem to get this piece back in, and now I think I'm backwards. Why am I backwards? Oh, Jesus, what have I done? Now, these other pieces here are a little bit strange at first, just looking at them. These are actually alternate shoulder pieces, and these are alternate arms. And together, they will make the sort of boxy look of the DX toy, so that you can use it with Bison King. So while I have him here, here is a comparison between the two Rodeomarus. As you can see, they actually captured his image very well in this nice little Chogokin figure. And it matches the suit in the show quite a bit as well. Outside of these black joints, I think that's about the only complaint I have of the figures, the black joints. It wasn't as noticeable with Shinobimaru because his is mostly covered up, but his is pretty open, so it's a little bit more noticeable. There's a minor complaint. I'm not a really huge, I don't really have a huge issue with it. It's just something to point out because I know people will probably complain about that. So yeah, as you can see, he's kind of, the thing about the DX Rodeomaru is that he was always stuck in this weird position and he looked really stupid. But thankfully they rectified this with the Chogokin version, so you got a nice posable one to have on your display. And of course, he is fully compatible with everything that this guy can do. So to get him all geared up and ready to go, for the Bison Buggy portion of Bison King, all you have to do is change out the arms. So to do that, you just simply tug on the arm and it will come out. And to make sure you got the right arm, there's two little slits and one hole. And right here, there is two little holes and one peg. You just line up all of those guys accordingly, just like so. And what this is going to do is it's going to allow you to clip these into the Bison Buggy, and as well as kind of get him situated so that he can ride it appropriately. Only issue I have with this figure is the head. Now, the DX toy, as I bang my light, actually was capable of just looking straight up like this, which honestly is just a smidge unnatural because necks don't do that. But yeah, this one has more of like an actual human neck range of articulation, so it can only look about this before it will stop. And I haven't really found a way to get this neck joint to be a little bit taller, because as you can see at that, the head will just pop right off. Now, I'm sure there's probably going to be some people that do some 3D printing to get a neck joint that will work appropriately, but honestly, this is enough. This is human enough for me. And of course, you just kind of bend his knees a bit to get him in the appropriate position, and he's kind of ready to go for the Bison Buggy. So if I bring that in, well, I kind of missed this guy. You just line up the two pegs that were created from the new arms. He'll grip those handlebars, and the legs are a little bit tricky. Let me swing that around to the side where you can see them better. Because they just don't, no matter what you do, they just don't line up. And I don't know if I'm just doing something wrong or what. But yeah, these will not line up all that well. I feel like this is probably about the best that you're going to get. So there is Chogokin Rodeomaru hanging out on the Bison Buggy. Now, of course, this wouldn't be a fully compatible toy if you couldn't get it into Bison King as well. But we're going to need to make one cosmetic change to this before we can do that. So what we want to do, we can focus on this guy instead. Just slide these panels out, and it's really easy to do. There's no stress or anything like that. And take these new pieces, and they will slide right in there to where you have the clips. I did that wrong. Just like that. So now you have the clips that will allow you to attach the Shuriken onto Rodeomaru here. So you can get the appropriate sounds and the appropriate look. So if we go ahead and just attach him back on here, and we do a nice little quick transformation. Boom, magic. So just take our Shuriken and line up the two pegs right there with the little clips that are now on Rodeomaru. Just like so. So there you go, there he is on Bison King, and like I said, it doesn't quite work, just because it's a poseable figure. It's not going to be a sort of ratchet system like this one, so it's not going to line up appropriately. So it looks kind of derpy, and his head is just kind of staring straight down, and there's a lot of flaws with this, just like Shinobimaru looked a little bit strange in the cockpit of Shurikenjin. This one kind of does the same thing. It just doesn't really work all that well. But you can do it, and I think that's really neat. And since we're here, I just wanted to show him off in Shurikenjin. You just flip down these pegs, get him in a ample sitting position. And kind of maneuver his arms a bit so he can fit properly. So he looks pretty happy in there. He looks pretty chill. And now we just take the Bison King one because this one looks cool. So this is actually a legitimate form called Shurikenjin Texas, according to the instructions of Bison King way back. I don't think I actually mentioned it in my original Bison King video. But yeah, this is something that is actually a legitimate thing. It was never used in the show, but according to the instructions, this is Shurikenjin Texas. So yay, Texas. You have your own robot. Alright, next up we're going to take a look at this little guy. Included with Rodeomaru is a tiny Aka Ninger Chouzetsu that is actually fairly poseable for being so tiny. I mean, this is only about maybe a 2-inch figure or so, give or take. So you're looking at something that is actually really, really small. But he still packs all the main posability points. His head does rotate. In fact, it's on a ball joint. So it can actually look up and down, which is pretty amazing. A small pin swivel up there at the shoulders to allow full movement there. You have a swivel at the bicep. You have a single joint at the elbow. The wrist even rotates. You have no ab crunch, but you do have a waist swivel. The hip is just a ball and socket, I believe. And then a single joint at the knee and I think a ball and socket joint down there at the ankle. So you got all sorts of movement in this tiny little figure, and I have to give them huge props for pulling this off. Now this thing is included as a sort of Super Sentai Artisan version of the little Aka Ninger Chouzetsu that kind of look like a ranger key that came with Lion Haoh. And so this is going to be capable of sitting in Lion Haoh's mouth for that piloting aspect, standing on top of Lion Haoh's back for when it's in the fortress mode, and then as well as standing on top of the Shuriken for the Haoh Shurikenjin mode. And so it manages to do all this with these two little accessory pieces that come with it. With nothing whatsoever, he can stand just fine in these slots on the back of Lion Haoh's back. When you attach this piece right here, if you get him in a sitting position, which actually is not really that easy to do because of his big skirt piece, you can take this, it falls on my hand because it's really small, there's a there's a hole in his butt and a peg right here, so you just kind of weasel it in there, and then that will have a little pokey peg right there that will plug into the back of Lion Haoh's mouth for that formation, so you have that going on. And then finally, this gold piece actually plugs into two little holes that are on his legs and two little slits right here. And you can kind of see, just looking at it, that it looks like that middle leg portion of the one that actually came with Lion Haoh. Hence why it kind of looked like a Ranger key, because they had very similar designs as well. So you just peg those together and get his legs all straight. And that has a little hole in it, and that will allow him to peg right on top of the Shuriken for that mode. And basically what this does is you have the little Ichibanto that is pegged in on the back, which is really nice. And you can have him hold it as well, so he can pretend like you're doing the final attack where he has the sword and all that too. So it's a nice little addition. Obviously, if you pose him next to Rodeomaru and stuff, it's going to look really stupid because of scaling. And like I said, it's not something I've generally liked in the show because of scaling. It just doesn't really look all that good. It's like he grows when he decides to combine with the robot, so you have some weird mass shift going on. But it is what it is. I do like the little figure. I think it's a great tiny little figure, for sure. It's got all the little posability points, and it's got a weapon and all that. So it's a great little figure of the form, especially because we never got anything else. We got a vinyl figure, and that was about it. I think there might be one candy toy figure or something, but we don't really have a whole lot for this guy. And basically, this little tiny version just makes me really, really stoked for like 2 years from now when we actually get Ninja Steel in America, and we'll get this form as a figure. At least I hope so, because I'm really looking forward to that. I really do like this form. So it is really cool, and it is cool that they kind of implemented those compatibilities with the robots, even though you needed to use these little accessory pieces instead of just the figure itself. Alright, so Chogokin Rodeomaru is a great figure. If you're a fan of Rodeomaru whatsoever, I do urge you to pick this release up. It's just as good as Shinobimaru, if not better. It really depends on which robot you like more, but something about this feels more concrete to me. I don't know. I couldn't really tell you what it is, but something about it I like a little bit more than Shinobimaru. And again, I'm not really too sure what. In terms of compatibility with the robots, the way that they engineered it, I think, is actually amazing. Because as it stands, you have a fully posable robot that on its own would just be really difficult to implement that interaction with the robots. And by giving them these additional pieces that you can swap out, very easy, mind you, it retains that full functionality. And I think that's a absolutely wonderful touch that they did not need to do. But they kind of set the mark with Shinobimaru, and Rodeomaru was probably a pain to engineer, and I'm really glad that they were able to figure out how to swap those pieces and get it going, because it works. It's not the greatest, especially when combined with Bison King. It leaves a little bit to be desired in terms of how it sits, for sure. The included Aka Ninja is another thing that they really didn't have to do, and it's kind of a neat little bonus that didn't really cost a whole lot extra. And it's a nice little tiny figure. To get that much articulation in a tiny figure, I think, is really great. And it kind of matches well with the set, even though the scaling issue is most definitely there. It's nice to have like all three main components of things that pilot the other robots. That's really cool. Again, I do wish they made a Pound Maru, UFO Maru, Dino Maru, etc. Because I think poseable figures, especially of Surfer Maru, would have been really fun to have on display. So maybe it'll happen. Maybe not. Probably not. But so that about does it for this review. If you like it, go ahead and blast that like button, comment below, and subscribe for more. So as always, thanks for watching. Take care and have a great one. Bye.